Welcome back, friends. We are looking to enhance the top terms project from the YByte Python curriculum available at www.ybyte.in. In the last video, we saw how we could create a strength for a given card. We will take this idea a little bit further and, in fact, give you a strength of the entire card deck. For example, remember the way the game goes. In the beginning, we distribute cards equally, so both have 15 cards, player and computer. I can go and analyze the entire deck and figure out, okay, look, out of the player, let's say, cards, nine are strong, five are moderate, one is weak. And of course, this will change as the game goes on. This card happens to be moderate. I think I can play with, let's say, the ear build and try my luck with that. Um, in fact, I happen to win this. So remember, this was a moderate card, computer's card. I do not know what it was. But when I, let's say, look at this now, I have 16 cards. I mean, the player has 16 cards, computer has 14 cards. And it looks like I've taken a strong card from the player because now I have 10 strong cards and, five moderate cards and so on. So this kind of gives you an idea of where we are. Of course, next round, computer one. So it's again back to 15-15, and it's again back to wherever we were. Let's say, so I get a weak card this time around, but let me just try my luck with, let's say, year built again. Well, I happen to win this, so I would end up pulling a card from the computer, and it turns out that, look, now I have two weak cards because possibly computer's card is also not that great. So it's 9-5-2 right now. This card is strong, so computer is going to pick up a strong card for me because this was a strong card, but I have unfortunately lost it. I didn't even know, computer chose a metric where this card was not all that strong. So computer wins this, and you will notice that my strong cards is now less. So it kind of, gives you an idea of what's going on in the game, and, kind of maybe some kind of prediction on who may be at some kind of an edge, right? Now, building this is not hard because we already have an assessment of the strength of a given card. All I'm going to do is to run this entire strength of a card on and in a for loop over the entire, let's say, card deck, right? So I'll just do that. I'll write a function here, to, let's say, estimate the strength of a card deck. So let me just do it. There are lots of functions over here. So I'll just create, let's say, just right after this, I'll create, let's say, def. So I call it the deck strength. So that is deck strength, ngth. And of course, I must send it a card deck. So it could be the player card, it could be the computer cards, and so on. So I just go and send it the card deck. So it is just say the uh, estimate the strength of a card deck. Now remember, the idea is very simple. We'll basically run a for loop on all the cards in this card deck, and we'll keep finding out how many of them are strong, moderate, and weak. So from that point of view, I just say, well, let's see. Let me just run say in GTH is, let's say, I initialize this to an empty list. Now I just run a for loop. So I just go and say for cards in card deck. Well, basically, let's say for card in card deck. Keep going through every card and find out its strength. I will append to this list strength. I'll just go and say strength.append. Append, remember, adds an item to the list. And what will I add? Well, I will add card strength of, let's say, this card. So basically, card strength goes and calls this function. It returns moderate, strong, or weak, depending on the ranks that we have taken. So we get a strong or weak card, whatever. And having done this, I will create a new list. I'll just make a list here, which will tell me strength dot count, let's say, strong. So okay, of course, this has to be a string. So strength dot count strong. Say strength dot count, say, moderate, and finally strength dot count weak. Now, with this done, I can return this list S here because it kind of keeps count of how many cards are strong, how many cards are, let's say, moderate, and how many are weak. And so I can call this function inside my game loop. I can just go and say, look, let me determine the player card strength. So let's say is deck strength of, say, the player cards, and CS is, for example, the deck strength of the computer cards. So basically, I know how many cards of what type are there in both, and thereafter I can write a print statement, which tells me this information. So I just write, for example, player has, and with some, let's say, gaps here, I just go and write, well, say PS0, say strong cards, comma, say PS1, say moderate cards, and finally, let's say PS, say 2, and say weak cards. And likewise we can do for the computer. So I just go and let's say do this here. So computer has we have to just small gap so that they align, and in fact we can bring this back here. So but of course for computer it's going to be CS 0, CS1, and CS2. Now in fact this kind of creates an interesting, let's say, visualization of the entire game, what's going on. We can see this working now. So when I enter this, say I do not want a training. Now it tells me, look, computer has got good cards to start with. In fact, computer has 10 strong cards, 3 moderate cards, whereas where player has only 7 strong cards. In fact, the player card is weak to start with. So let's just try my luck with, let's say, year build. Okay, unfortunately, the computer has one, but computer has one a weak card, right? So when I look at the statistics now, notice I have 0 weak cards. Computer, in fact, has now 3 weak cards. Now it's computer's chance. However, my card is strong, and if I in fact lost this, given that I've lost this, I'm going to lose a strong card here. And when I look at this, well, it's 6 and 11 now. So computer now is sitting with 11 strong cards. My card, unfortunately, is moderate. So let me try to win this. I think height is a good metric for this. When I do this, in fact, I won. Let's see what I've ended with. So, it tells me, look, I have 6 strong cards still, 7 moderate cards, and 1 weak card, right? So now this card was moderate and computer has won it. So I'm expecting moderate cards to go down, and indeed that's what happens. So, kind of gives you a picture of what's going on in the game, and perhaps you can think further and, try to see if you can predict who is at a stronger position. A little bit hard because, just having a count of what number of cards is there doesn't tell much, because cards come kind of face to face, and there's still a lot to be played in the game with respect to what metrics we are choosing. But I hope this gave you an idea and this was interesting to you. Building projects is always a good way to learn, and that's what we do at YByte. Look at our website www.ybyte.in. We learn Python programming through such fun activities. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.